disconnect. And it also does look like the information I was given was incorrect. It does actually appear that it might be Renegades starting on defense. So just excuse me. Renegades starting on defense. We have a disconnect, so it's paused. And Squid is, I think, also coming back now. We're just juggling balls over here. I see Squid potentially trying to join me, but nonetheless, there we go.
I'm here. I'm happy.
So
we're happy with this.
So Squid, teams started, but then we had a DC, so now we're paused, and it's going to be Renegades on defense. And so now you and I are caught up, and we're just awaiting the disconnect to get sorted out so that folks can start again. But we had a bit of a Charlie Foxtrot, no big deal. This is esports.
And that's absolutely fine, isn't it? It's online, we're here, we're having fun. It's 2:30 in the morning here in the UK, and I'm awake and ready, as per usual, to cast some Valorant. You know, I'm really excited about this one, Charmer. We've got the reconnection in. I'm sure that we'll get into this one in the next couple of seconds as well with the initial pistol round. And really, for me, this is all to play for. We're in the quarterfinals here. I'm pretty sure that this is just single elimination, so the losers just get straight eliminated from this tournament. It's all about getting to that final day, right? It's all about getting to that top 3, securing a lion's share of that $5,000 prize pool. And it's all about securing those wins, especially if you're Sentinels. You've come off the back of a really grand performance in the last couple of weeks, an Ignition Series title under their belt, under their wing, and now they're going for another one here in the 30 Bomb Summer Cup.
I'm really excited to see what Renegades can do. We talked a bit at the start of this match about how Renegades has really only got one event under their belt since being signed, and Dapper pops off here with Zombs also firing on Nerf. So all of a sudden we have a 4v2 on attack. Absolutely brutal for Renegades, but to finish my train of thought, Renegades with only one real big performance under their belt since being signed, I wanted to see how they could improve, and then after the first map, we saw some area for them to improve. They answered back, and I want to see if they can continue that trend, but this is a brutal start.
And this is exactly what you want on this attacking side. A pistol round under your belt, and Sage surely soon to fall as well. There goes the heal orb, but she has to peek into 3 defenders here, and the Classic does get the job done onto the first 2. That's an opportunity, but running very low on this spike. There's no time to do it. And to add insult to injury, Six able to find that final headshot. 1-0.
Yep, 1-0 start, and they're going to be looking to propel them. We see a lot of ARs bought here. We see a Phantom with full armor on the side of Sick. The Bulldogs as well for Dapper and Zombs. Also one on the side of Shazam. So I like the defenders traditionally on Split, but I think given what we just saw and also this kind of superior firepower, I would err on the side of this still being a Sentinels favored round. But again, so far in this match, every time I say that or every time I think somebody's favored, the underbought team starts to overperform. So we'll be looking to see if that's the case. Right now, creeping around in mid, trying to find some picks. Spike finally picked up, and Shazam finds CP2 there for an elimination. That's the kind of pick you want to get to start.
And this is where things start to get tough and tricky for Renegades. A player down, that starts to thin out this defense. Obviously, 3 players stacked towards this B site right now with Phoenix on the way. Winsome's right behind this attack, and it's all about timing. When they're going to pounce, the shotgun's unable to get the job done, and Winsome also taken out. It's a flawless round just like that. Sentinels up to their second.
It's a really big round for Sentinels because it was flawless. So all of those guns that they bought before, they can carry with them while banking some money. Meanwhile, on the other side, potentially pistols again. This is not looking good for the side of Renegades. Some
No, they
sheriffs
won't.
might be able to help them turn this around. Again, we know CP2, Randy Savage, Winsome, they can hit these headshots. They can turn the momentum, but this is not a great start. And you
No,
need
not
this
at all.
on defense on Split.
And remember, this is something that Renegades have been doing pretty commonly. This second round force up, stacking, this time the B site. And unfortunately, it just doesn't pan out for them. All 5 frags found in very quick succession from the Sentinels. This Paranoia should be able to get a little bit of damage in, but Zombs, it's a massive spray down over towards the middle of the map. A couple of rifles salvaged, but this is a lose-lose situation here for Renegades. They're a member down right now. Members of this Sentinel squad all over this map and starting to apply all of the pressure. Sinatra's just too good.
I really feel like their game plan was to get those weapons and then just fall back for the save. And Sinatra catches the enemy Cypher during the middle of the reload animation. And then unfortunately, CP was so low on health, it was an easy cleanup. And that denied any hopes of taking those guns with them, trying to salvage some of their economy. But they do get to buy some ARs now. They're also going to go with 2 operators. Randy Savage doing so at the expense of any armor at all. Nerfed going to be going with the small armor here, likely so that they can purchase abilities as well. This is where they need to stem the bleeding. Renegades has to turn some of these defensive rounds back in their favor, and they really want to finish this half with a lead. I mean, this is Split after all. If you can't finish with a lead when you're on defense, it's going to be dicey.
Yeah, certainly. This is where the defensive side really starts to come in and sting. When you lose that pistol along with the follow-ups as well, it's the 3-0 start, really just as good as it gets right now. And with the rifles in hand for the first time this map, this, as you said, is when Renegades need to find some successes. No early kills merited. And with a minute left, they're just holding serve, covering these corners, a couple of double man setups here towards cabin is one of the main takeaway points here by this B bomb site. It's the anchor and really just the initial frag found.
Yeah, Winsome does finally get first blood here, and that's great for the side of Renegades. I like that they slowed things down. They've been very good when they've been playing aggressive, but here on Split, you want to use this map to your advantage. Now, the enemy squad here, Sentinels, forced to make a play because of time running out, and CP2 finds a double. Nerfed picks off Sick, and it's just Dapper with this Bulldog against the full 5 squad. Does manage to take Bergie with him, but this will be the first round win for the side of Renegades. It's what they needed, and they need to snowball this. Again, on Split, you don't want to be in a situation where at the half you are down going into the attacking side, but I like what I saw with the patience there. Renegades has been very aggressive on the other maps, but I think here you need to hold your angles, and that's exactly what they did.
Certainly. We see Shazam's operator come through on the attacking side. I think for the first time this series, he's been playing with the automatic rifle a lot of the time, just preferential treatment given to that Phantom, which he's obviously so good with. And this time it's that opening pick. I don't think Bergie was expecting an AWP towards the bottom of mid, and instead just gets plucked out of action. This is where Jet needs to come through, and well, finally evens up these numbers. It's the Blade Storm, the knives in hand, and a little bit of further damage needed to prevent this push coming in.
So they've moved into mid here as they try to ascend the B tower. And through caster vision here, we know CP2 sitting. He catches Dapper with the knives, but kind of misses that second spray. Unfortunately, the right click on the knives sometimes can be a little bit unreliable, even at close range. Nerfed gets some damage before teleporting to safety. He's going to have to back out, and then they're going to likely look for a retake here as he waits for reinforcements to arrive. And now that they have Randy Savage creeping up here with the operator,
You're dead.
we're going to see Winsome here use the run it back to get a little bit of information. Doesn't get any damage or pressure applied. Just watching that heaven area. Couple of trades there, so now we're down to the 2v2. Shazam finds Nerfed, but Winsome answers back. Now it's a 1v1, but Shazam with the high ground pulls his best Obi-Wan impression and gets another win for the attackers.
And it feels right now like Sentinels are starting to apply that pressure in all factors, limiting this economy down to what looks to be a force buy here for Renegades. They pick up a trio of Phantoms. Nerf also going for the Phantom as well, so it's not going to be the most ideal buy in the world, but the one saving grace you get from losing so many of these early engagements is rifles in pretty much back-to-back rounds right now. 1 to 4, this is where Renegades absolutely need to find not just a couple of opening picks, but a couple of back-to-back rounds. If this even goes 7-5, 6-6, obviously Sentinels are going to be feeling just great about this. And this attacking side shouldn't be favored by any means, but they're starting to dominate. And if they can get to 5-1, 6-1, they'll be... Well, just with a
really nice pick for CP2 there. Now, Sick with the res before Bergie answers back, catches Sick. But that was a really important pick in my opinion because CP2 took out the operator player, almost got to safety. Now the res from Bergie again is going to give that advantage to Renegades, but Shazam picks off Winsome and Sinatra takes out Nerf. So Zom's putting pressure again. They're ascending this B tower. Cypher taking the spike down through B main, but this is going to be a 3v1. I don't think Randy Savage with this Guardian is going to be able to get this done. So this should be yet another win for the side of Sentinels. And this one is, I got to say, this one is running away from Renegades and their ability to come back because they're on defense and they are kind of getting taken to the whipping shed here.
This really sucks for a defending side. Being 5-1 down, it's almost a write-off at this point. I think they need to win every single engagement here on out in terms of rounds. 7-5 a lot of the time isn't even good enough on a map like Split. Let's see what they can do. Obviously, they'll have buys in hand coming in. So these next engagements, Cypher should be able to save this single Phantom, but really it's not good enough at this point.
Strategically, if you're on the side of Renegades, what are you looking to do here? What are you looking to exploit? Because honestly, Sentinels have not been very predictable. They're just spreading out, they're playing for picks, and then once they've done that, they're pushing onto a site. So is there even anything you can do or change up if you're Renegades to try to turn this around?
On Split, it's a lot harder because you don't want to go for these aggressive plays. If you do, it has to be coordinated, and in a round like this where you've got pistols in hand, it's certainly not a round that you're expecting to take either. I talked about the economy being great, and well, they have to eat the eco here in round number 7, and that really sucks because you're likely giving away this 6-1 scoreline. Sentinels already looking to win this half, and don't think that the pressure is going to be depressed at that point. They'll keep applying it. They're going for 7, 8, 9 at this point. And, well, really, if that comes through, it'll be game over already at halftime.
Sinatra with the grenade going out. They do have that numbers advantage because of the early pick here. Bergie does catch Dapper with a headshot. Sinatra here with just 5 health as well. Going to retreat a little bit, maybe try to reposition here, find their Sage, and Zom's moving into the B site. They're going to get the spike planted, so this is going to put Renegades in a retake scenario. And with the 2 players coming from the tube and the other 2 coming up from the backside of B tower, they're going to have a lot of distance that they need to close. Shazam with this operator, watching for players to exit the smoke. Couple of rounds exchanged there. But with pistols, this is a tall order, and yeah, unfortunately, Sick takes out Randy Savage, but Winsome, one of the players there for Renegades that does have an AR, answers back, finds Sinatra. This timer's ticking down, though, so at this point, they either need to make a play or back out and go for the Sage. They're making the play. They dive in. Zoms and Shazam answer, though. I'm a little surprised they went for the play, but perhaps this pressure of the round lead, now down 6-1, is the reason that they decided to make that call.
Yeah, I feel like they're really starting to feel the pressure. It doesn't make sense to just save the pistols in that scenario with guaranteed rifles carried through to round number 8. They should have made the investment into B earlier when there was still time on that spike. Doing economical damage to Sentinels right now just isn't good enough. That's not the end goal of that round. You need to find a couple of headshots at least with those sheriffs, with a couple of those SMGs as well, and start to clamp down towards that side of the map. We see once again that the buy's going to be fine. It's going to be favorable. And they finally eat this tactical pause. I think it's much needed. I'd have loved to see a pause actually a little bit earlier. This gives them a break of pace before this, I think, 4th rifle round where they can start to think about this one. Obviously, Sentinels don't need a break of pace whatsoever. They're going to be feeling fine about just getting straight back into the action, diving straight into this one, and taking even more rounds on their attacking side.
Yeah, they need to certainly reassess how they are approaching this defense. We see 3 on B now, 2 on A. Granted, this is a pause, so this might shift, but I said it before. What do you do if you are Renegades? Because Split is not the kind of map where you can do a lot differently. It is meant to be defender-sided in many ways. You want to hold these angles, and it does look like this is going to be the way they decide to defend this here. Meanwhile, on the side of Sentinels, they are sticking to their game plan of spreading out, trying to go for these early picks, and then using the numbers advantage in their favor.
I dropped the spike.
3. So 1-3-1. We got 3 mid as they slowly move up. They have the smoke there on the ropes connector. Bomb Buddy goes out. The wall now on the ropes connector as well. So going to be pushing up into this B tower where we see CP2 with the daggers lying in wait, but Sinatra takes him out with the showstopper. Bergie does answer with the operator. Keeps things even. Finds Shazam as well. And all of a sudden, we have a 4v2. Renegades have to like these odds. Bit of an exchange there. I'm really surprised that Sick survived that, if I'm being honest. Nerfed does finish off Sick. And now it's down to just Zombs. Does have the spike. Could go try to put some economic pressure, find some kills. Could maybe try to get another alt pip or some extra money. Not that they're hurting for cash, but if they want to attempt a plant, that's certainly on the table. You're not likely thinking round win at this point, but you don't want to just back out either.
No, the economy is firmly in Sentinel's favor. I don't think he's expecting to even get a plant out of this one. Just try and do a little bit of economical damage, and well, it'll be a phantom dropped as they swap it for the AWP. 2-6, I think that tactical pause was more of a confidence play for Renegades. Obviously, they need to just start hitting their shots at that point. They're pressured on rounds. They're pressured all over this map. There's still the option and the ability to close this out 6-6, but even that's not really good enough. We've said it so many times, I feel like a broken record, but getting these operators in play and Bergie finally starting to hit shots, that's exactly what you want. You see, Omen's only got 1 kill thus far. It just feels like a lack of fragging power from Renegades, and that's not what you want on the defender's side on a map like this. Once again, it's Sinatra opening through onto the A site, and they can just back off and take this advantage.
Yeah, Sinatra doing it yet again, finding another first blood. He's been very great at doing that all throughout this particular matchup. And now with that advantage, well, Nerf answers with a lurk. Is traded out with Shazam finding him with the operator, but nonetheless, they still have this advantage, right? I feel like they are playing it safe, trying to get folks to get out of position, and we see exactly that. They are moving over to the B site because they haven't heard or seen from Sentinels in a while, and that appears to be by design as they kind of just wait this out. Since the spike is still over there by A, I have to assume that they're going to wait till the 30, 35-second mark and then start making a play for A. Camera is on site A, but bodies are not, so this is going to put, essentially, once the spike goes down, Renegades in a 3v4 retake scenario.
Yeah, this is a massive disadvantage here. Obviously, with absolutely nobody for Renegades here on A, I feel like they almost have to just save the rival at this point. Maybe Cypher tries to pitch in for that first frag, but if he goes down anytime soon, this round's absolutely over. And realistically, with the spike planted, all of the pressure's already been applied. Sentinels once again turning the screw. And here, the run it back might be the last lifeline here for the retake. Winston makes good ground here, but with Shazam nailing shot after shot. This is a shutaway once again. And the operator in the hands of Bergie shouldn't be able to do anything. Dapper annihilates him. 7-2 on the board once again. Sentinels keep the scoreline rolling.
I don't even know what to say at this point. This is not what I was expecting when we came on to Split. I would not have predicted a 7-2 start in favor of the attacker. That's not to say that attacking is impossible on Split. It's just so rare. But again, when we go back to Bind and now here on Split, apparently this particular matchup is just defying all traditional conventions, and the trend continues here. Sentinel's playing very well, finding picks, knowing how to put the pressure, and we see that strategy here again. They're going with the 1-3-1, seeing if they can catch somebody peeking. They've pushed up into mid pretty well here. This bomb buddy's going to go out, holding angles, waiting for somebody to peek. Now, one of the rounds earlier that Renegades actually did take was when they were patient and they held their angles. So I think that is the game plan still here, but not in a great spot.
No, it really can't look much worse right now for Renegades. They need a massive change of pace before halftime. 50 seconds left in this one. And with a less than favorable buy coming through, great paranoia to start things off, and the shotgun's able to chomp through for loads of damage. It's an even Stevens engagement, and Sick pulls it right on through. The spike easily can go down on the B site, and Cypher is completely caught in translation. He's locked out of this one, and surely shouldn't be able to get the job done. It's him versus the world, and Sinatra's headshot just piping in to secure number 8.
With 2 rounds left before the half, this is traditionally where you would say, okay, Renegades wants to win back-to-back so that they at least close the gap a little. Then if they win the pistol round, they can maybe propel to a second win after that, and then the margin isn't so bad, right? At that point, it would be 8-6, but that's just not looking likely right now. It feels like Sentinels are just putting the boots to Renegades, and I don't know how they bounce back. They need to get first bloods. There is exactly what they needed. Bergie does find Sick. I'd like to see some more aggressiveness out of Winsome, but again, what do you do on Split to be aggressive? You can't really give up your defensive advantage. Sinatra here with a pick on Randy Savage, and that's going to even things up. Not quite a first blood, but not a shock to see Sinatra drawing it early. Yeoman teleport coming in.
Destroyed.
We're going to have a 4v4 here on A. A lot of posturing and utility going out. Bergie finds Shazam.
And Sentinels are starting to assert this control just on both sides right here. Finally, the res comes through and an opportunity without the spike down on the ground. Raze wants to make a play, but it's all about Renegades right now. They're finding all of these kills, and it's Sinatra versus 3 to try and finish. That incendiary isn't going to force him out of place, and instead he has to connect with the headshots once again. He's got pressure from the back, and as that dark cover starts to dissipate, Winsome applies the pressure from the top, and it's a third. An opportunity to close this 8-4. Let's see if we see any sort of momentum switch. You see Randy Savage, only 1 kill. And we're almost at the half-time mark here. Cypher's not necessarily known for his great fragging abilities, but 1-9, certainly not ideal here in the first half.
Yeah, it looks really bad when you're staring at it here on the scoreboard, but in Randy Savage's defense, many of the situations he's been in has been you know, a 1v3, a 1v4 at the end of the round because he's usually on the side opposite of where folks are. Bergie gets an early pick here on Shazam, and that's huge for the side of Renegade. They will get this res off, though. But Randy Savage has just been in really bad situations, and I think that that score is reflecting it. So after the res, things are even, and they have full mid control now on the side of Sentinels as they're trying to push up, but Winsome denies with a double kill before Sick gets the trade. That's going to be an advantage to Renegades again, even after the res.
With only a minute on the board and very little map control established, this is where it comes down to opening picks one more time for the Sentinels. If they can eliminate at least Jet towards A, then maybe that gives them a foothold into planting towards the pointy letter. But with the smoke down, completely locked out and through, CP2 actually does nail another before falling down in a way. And finally an opportunity. The spike should go down here, but locked away on this A site. I think that Sage is going to have, well, her work cut out to escape into a favorable position, and with a position spotted once more, it's going to be exceptionally hard for Sentinels to reach number 9 before halftime. I love this patient play from Renegades, finally sweeping in from all angles and just trying to eviscerate this one. Randy Savage comes through with one of his first kills of the half, and Zom tries to get it all done, and it's the quick scope to finish. There's more than enough time, surely, to get this diffused through. And, well, that's going to be a 4th round before things are said and done.
Okay, so I said it before. You want to win the last 2. Now you need to win this pistol round so that you have an advantage and propel that to 2 in a row so that you're at least 8-6. Maybe Renegades can find a way to get back into this, but it's a pretty big hill to climb. So switching sides, Renegades now going on attack. Winsome has looked very good today when being aggressive. CP2 has as well. Hopefully that works out in their favor, but
this is a nice spot.
They've got to do something. I will say this, they've played significantly better since they took that pause. Taking that to catch their breath, settle down, I think it really benefited them, and I'm with you. I kind of wish they would have done it maybe when they were at the 1-4 mark as opposed to that 1-6 mark.
Right here, this is the must-win pistol round for Renegades. It's pretty much game over if they're unable to take it. Here, it's straight towards the B site. On a map like Split, you realistically expect them to take much more than perhaps just a couple before this one finishes and closes out. The initial cyber cage goes through, and Dapper needs to connect with some headshots. There's a bonus right onto Winston. The crossfire comes in. It seems to be Sentinels initially closing this one down, but another 2 versus 2 scenario as Randy Savage pitches in with a pair of headshots. Zoms from the side, and with the spike down but not planted, this all comes down to the kills once again, and Shazam finishes. 9-4, Sentinels on the home straight.
Well, that is not the outcome you wanted if you were Renegades. I will say congratulations to Randy Savage, who did get that 3K. So we mentioned before that he was 1-9 at one point, I believe, but apparently Cypher is just better as an entry fragger. That's all we needed to see on the side of Randy Savage to get him in motion. They're gonna again take this kind of force buy or buy up. This is pretty common even when they lose the pistol round on the side of Renegades. They've been doing this, so this is nothing new, but even more so I think now is the right time to do it simply because they can't afford to lose too many more rounds. Some blind firing through the cage there. Not really connecting. Winsome does get a kill on Zoms, but Shazam finds 2 before CP2 ends Shazam's reign of terror. Sick continues to be sick and picks off Bergie, and this is still a numbers advantage in favor of Sentinels, and we've got the damage on CP2 as well. Sick finishes CP2 off, and so now it's just nerfed with no spike up against 3 players, and again, every round that you let slip away is a bigger hill to climb, and Dapper finishes off nerfed, and it's 10-4 in favor of Sentinels.
Absolutely. This looks like a runaway 3rd and final map, unfortunately. The Sentinels have been dominating from start. to seemingly the finish of this third map. And such a shame considering this has been an incredibly close series with both Ascent and Bind coming down to the absolute wire. No overtimes thus far, but I'm sure that we won't see one here in map number 3. It's just the 4 Sheriffs, the single classic as the investment here on round number 15, and not really much that Renegades can do about this one. We'll likely see the scoreline convert 11-4, and anything but just a miracle at this point is going to finish this map off in a heartbreak for Renegades. Shazam again, a couple of quick kills, even trading, but with the spike dropped, this will be Sentinels just holding serve over by the A site. We see Raze starting to gesture into position, and this is a really unenviable position for Renegades right now. How are they going to be able to get back into this one?
I'm not sure that they can actually get back into this with Dapper finding Randy Savage there. It's looking pretty dire. Sinatra with the ability kill, excuse me, the zoning, right? It tells me that's a zoning ability, but it's now 11-4, and as you said, this is a runaway, and I'm a bit surprised simply because the first 2 maps were so close. It's not like one team ran away on their favored map, then the second team ran away on their favored map. It was 2 very tight contests. And then this one is a completely one-sided affair. I don't know if this is just because maybe Renegades is unfamiliar on Split. I don't know how much time or effort they've put into this particular map, given the frequency that it's banned, or if maybe this is just Sentinel's favorite map. They seem to really enjoy playing on this right now because they're making it look easy. And that's a trade of kills there to start things off here, so it's still a 4v4, but Renegades trying to get mid control so that they can push somewhere. This wall's slowed them down a bit, but it's not a complete wall. There's still gaps. Can go over the box or through that little gap there, but I think they're just going to catch their breath. Maybe hope that some folks have rotated away and we can see through our mini-map caster vision that that is indeed the case. So now they're going to ascend that B tower area, and thus far it's uncontested.
Absolutely, and it does feel like Sentinels, they find this advantage and turtle down onto these sites. Force Renegades to get aggressive and into these choke points where the crossfires are already established. And it all comes down to a couple of headshots to really determine who's going to take this one once again. An AWP shot missed to start things off. That's inopportune, and I don't think the Incendiary is going to do all too much here against Cypher. With the Cyber Cage giving him so much map control, he's going to go for the swings, both ends, and the crossfire established really does just finish things off here. Is nerfed. Oh, he hits a trio of shots. An opportunity here, but unable to find the final frag against Zombs. It is going to be 12-4 here, just as dominant as it gets.
That was a very close round there at the end after Nerf popped off with the triple, and it was a really rare miss from the side of CP2. You called it before. There was an opportunity that kind of slipped through their fingers when he missed the op shot, but unfortunately traveling down the ropes, you kind of didn't really have the scope lined up or your crosshair in the right position to capitalize. But given the way that ended, even that one kill would have made a huge difference. But the pressure is on Renegades. Their tournament life here being challenged. This is match point on game map number 3, and they're going to push into A. They just funnel in with the aggression. I really like this decision to just do something new and different. It's even trades on both sides. Now it's 3v3, but, well, with Zombs and CP2 trading there as well, it's now a 2v1 in favor of Sentinels. Can CP2 do it enough? Oh, that bomb buddy is rough when you've got the daggers out. You can't really afford to kill it with the daggers, and that's going to be it. Sentinels will move on.
Yeah, that's a really disappointing final map for Renegades, all things considered. Able to take it to map number 3. I didn't think that we were going there based on Bind being the second map, but that was a really confident play for them. I think that on paper, they'll be disappointed that they were unable to take Ascent. That was a very close, remember, 10